What a fantastic start to the video. I muted myself. Amazing way to begin this video. It's almost like Dan James's career at Man United. It had so much potential, started with so much hype, but guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. What a segue this is. We are here, of course, to discuss Dan James and his leaving Manchester United Football Club for the team you could almost say he was destined to join. In certain documentaries, I was going to say the wonderful, I meant the woeful Leeds United. So we are going to be discussing Dan James. And thank you, Fred Woodward, in the comments, being an absolute star. Good start. Great start. Kinsley, hello, man. Thank you so much. Great to see you here. So we're going to be discussing Dan James' time at Man United, what this leaves for us with Dan James going, how you feel about him, and I see a sad face on Facebook. Get over from Facebook, watch us on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel, get into the chat, tell me exactly what you are looking for. Stuart O'Hara, great to see you, my man, as well. The North aren't doing anything in the coming international break, but the Republic of Ireland are doing F all as well. So we will be discussing Dan James, as I said. How will this work for him? Will this leave a hole in our team at all? Obviously, maybe not in the starting 11, but we'll leave a gap on the bench. And a lot of people hold him in very high regard. You saw him at the Euros. He obviously played very well then. And what this also means with us having an extra 30 million. Where do we spend that? Where do we reinvest? It's a very exciting time. I think we'll get into my thoughts on Dan James. But of course, I have three wonderful guests on with me this evening for my first time back hosting on Off United. I've got the terrific Henry Bartlett. Another great start, great first name out of the way. Terrific Andrew Wall. The two of them have been stalwarts for Off United for a good while now. Andrew for a bit longer. And we are debuting this evening a terrific Irish comedian and actor and a longtime friend of mine, Conor Miley. And he will be, you can find him on Twitter at Conor Miley, which he hasn't tagged himself in on the StreamYard, but it's the debut. So you can just type in his name, Conor Miley, you'll find him there. So we will be discussing with these three wonderful guys about Dan James United, the good stuff, the bad stuff, what we think this means for us, all things Man United. So please get in the chat, get your thoughts in. Is this a good move? Is this a bad move? Is it a better move for Dan James to be leaving United? Is it a better move for us getting rid of him? Is it beneficial for everyone, or is it something bad? Get your love in, get your thoughts in, but no matter what, stick around and we are going to have a great hour or so. So on to the intro.
Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from Passionate Reds, only on All for United.
We're here and we are live with four top Manchester United fans. I put myself in that bracket as well. As I am the host and I am all powerful, I can say I am great at everything. So we are here, as I said in the intro, to discuss Dan James, his time at Man United, and our reaction to him being sold. And we actually have a Leeds fan in the comments, and he sounds like an Irishman, Leeds fan here to be nice. That's a first for any Leeds fan. Still only 23, could be a hell of a player for Marco Bielsa's project. I agree with you on that. I think he's probably better suited to Bielsa than he is to United. But Henry, we'll go to you first, then you, Andrew, then you, Connor. Dan James is gone, 30 million. Tell me, what is your first reaction to that, Henry?
Not a huge surprise, and again, a little bit of disappointment that things didn't work out quite well. But you know, these things happen with players, and we're in a situation now where we've got so many attacking players that some have to go, and it just happens to be that he's not of the quality of the others. So yeah, again, happy days for us in terms of the fee. I mean, I'm not going to say we've ripped him off, but it's a Murta masterclass that. But another one where, things didn't quite work out, but we've doubled the fee in selling him. So kind of good for both parties in the sense that he'll now get good first team football. I'm happy for him because, he deserves it. And, we can move on without him.
Okay, straight to the point on that. Andrew, for the fact that we got a 30 million fee for Dan James, a player who was barely featured for us, and that doubles the amount that we spent on him, and he's only 23. Do you feel that this could possibly something we regret? Because if you're spending, like United I don't think any top club should ever make money on a player. If you're selling a player, it should be for less than you bought them for, because you can't be selling success. You can't be selling on someone. I feel anyway, because if they are being sold on for a profit, it means you're failing them rather than they failed you, I feel. Do you think there's anything to do with Andrew that this guy could become a top player at this club? Do you feel it could have been better if we sent him out on loan, maybe?
I say, like Henry said, I don't think this transfer is a surprise to any United fan. We could end up regretting it. I mean, just like, for example, like when Paul Pogba left, we had to pay 90 million to get him back. But it depends. Well, I know Leeds are the front runners for getting Daniel James. I know there's talk of Everton looking to hijack the deal, but it'll be interesting to see how Bielsa develop him as a player. I mean, I know this transfer, it just makes you question why he started against Wolves at the weekend. I don't know whether that was because Ollie wanted him in the shop window, or it was just mainly just down to tactics as well. But I mean, the offer of what Leeds are offering, it's too good to turn down. I mean, we bought him from Swansea for 15 million, so I think it's a good deal. I mean, he's highly regarded by Ollie and was his first signing at the club back in 2019. So I think with his first season at the club, I don't think many of us thought he was going to play as much as he did. I think because of injuries to other players, it just meant he got more game time. And obviously, his second season, his game time was reduced. And then it could be looked at with Daniel James. He was just a stopgap until Jadon Sancho came to us. I mean, we wanted Sancho back in 2019, but we didn't qualify for the Champions League. And then last season, Dortmund wanted 120 million, which we said, well, we're not paying that. So I think for many of us, we hoped he would develop into a great player, but it just didn't quite work out for him in the end. And I'll be interested to see how he gets on, even though he's likely to be going to our rivals, Leeds.
They're not our rivals. They're as much as our rivals are Arsenal our rivals, all right? We pity them as much as any other team. Connor, it's a pleasure to finally have you on. It's not the first time I've asked you to come onto the show, and I'm delighted to finally get you here, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. You're debuting, and if everyone can share Connor some love in the comments, that'd be greatly appreciated, because he needs as much love as possible. It's COVID still there. But Connor, Dan James, he started off like a firecracker when he first joined, and it seemed like there was a real player there. Kind of dwindled off. Are you surprised at the sale? Are you surprised at the amount we're getting? Is there a party? Do you think we could still make a player with this guy, or do you feel like this is the right move for everyone?
Well, first off, thanks for having me on. This whole situation with James, I think, is a mistake. I don't think we should be letting him go, to be honest. With the players we have there, I understand with Ronaldo here, obviously, which is great. We're all excited about it. I think it is a mistake letting James go. I think the man we should be letting go is our Tony Marshall. Anthony Martial, I think he needs to go. I think that's run its course at this stage, to be honest. I mean, he's had up and down dips in form and stuff like that, but he's the player we really needed to offload, and probably would have been for more money as well. But no, obviously it would have been for more money. But James is actually progressing as a player. Like you said, he's been playing games, towards the end of last season as well. I'm playing well, if you ask me. I think the main hole in his game would be the final product of finishing. Similar to the Wolves having the problem with Traore and stuff like that. But like the speed, I think that the young lad has a lot of good attributes that have, there's so much potential there with Dan James. I've been a fan, even though he's had his critics and, since he joined the club, I think he has a lot more to offer. I think this is a big mistake.
Wow, Connor, that is like the ultimate debut mic drop, I'll be honest. Because I have been on this show. Yeah, that is a serious opening there. Because I have been here, for 18 months or so hosting, and Tony Martial has been a divisive character. There has been lots of times we claimed that we should sell him, we should cash in, we should send him on a loan. Some other people saying that we should hold on to him and stuff like that, but no one, I don't think anyone has yet to say we should keep Dan James over Anthony Martial. So I'm going to put that out in the comments. I'm going to put a poll up as well on Twitter to see what camp are you in there. But Henry, I'm going to go straight to you on that. With your first reaction to what Connor just said, is there anything to be saying of keeping Dan James over Tony Martial?
It's a valid point. I'd say it's 100% a valid point. But the issue is, and this is a big problem, as you mentioned, with Dan James, the end product just isn't there. And do we have time to kind of force that into him? I don't think so. And Martial is clinging to a couple of seasons ago where he scored, was it 20 odd goals? So, there's a belief that Martial can still do that. But I see what you're saying, and if you want to raise money for sales, you get rid of them both. I'd say because James isn't enough to go and buy a defensive midfielder with. And again, Martial's he looked disinterested against Southampton, and I know it's his first game back from injury, but don't we want hungry players who are, have got desire and fire in their belly, ready to go and attack teams and force their hand and force the manager's hand in selection? And I thought Martial was terrible against Southampton. Just didn't bother. So personally, I'd like to see them both go. But again, we've just got so many attackers that not all of them can stay. The one thing I will say is I hope there's some sort of buyback clause in the deal with Dan James, but I don't think there will be, just because it's Leeds. I would love to see a 50 million buyback clause, so we don't have to, a Pogba situation where he goes there and he's fantastic, end product is amazing, he scores 15 goals in a season, and then we're looking back thinking, why on earth did we get rid of him? So, yeah, as long as we've been smart about it, it's okay. And again, Martial looks disinterested to me, and maybe it is time for a fresh start for him as well.
All right, I was kind of hoping that you would have a go at Miley there, being like, no, Martial's my man. I want him. And then we'll have a heated debate, and then we'll eventually end with fisticuffs at dawn. But fine, you want to go with a sensible way of going about it, Henry? You do that, okay? I'm going to go to Andrew Wall for some content, all right? Andrew, I want you to strip the painting down. I want you to give your all of why Martial is the greatest player who's ever lived, and Dan James should be hung, drawn, and quartered for even mentioned that sentence. Andrew, take it away.
Always instigating, Joe. Yeah. Always instigating.
Never. I would never ever do that. Andrew, Miley said that you're a dickhead. We have a super chat, and super chats are rare here, so we have to go to it. I have no idea how much corporate Kaladi has given us here, because I don't know the currency, but thank you for the money anyway. Everyone but United management does not need a CDM. Insane. Everyone but United management does not think we need a CDM. I think. I don't know about that, corporate. We'll get to that very, very soon when we're talking about how we reinvest the money. But I think it is high in the priority. I just think other positions were higher. But Andrew, coming to you, Martial versus James. If you had to keep one, who would you keep?
That's a tough one. I mean, I did read it on.
It shouldn't be a tough one. What? I'm sorry. It shouldn't be a tough one. It should not be a tough one. Martial has not fallen that far. Okay, Martial, I have been his biggest critic as much as anyone else, but Martial I think Dan James is a very good player, but if you're looking at potential, especially for being sold on, if Martial has potential to have one more good season where he can bag 20, 30 goals and we could sell him for 3 times the amount that we sold James for, James just does not have that potential. I love Dan James. If you're asking for a squad player, for someone who will play maybe 20 games, maybe 30 altogether off the bench, I would say absolutely I love James, but you're looking for someone who has the ability to change a game, it is going to be Martial. So it shouldn't be tough. Sorry, Andrew, you have your opinion. I just shouted mine.
I can see your point, Joe. It's just because I was reading online the other day somebody saying Dan James could offer a lot more than Anthony Martial. Like with Martial, we know he's got the talent. We know he can score goals. We want it more consistently. And I mean, the game against Southampton, he had that one chance to score. Okay, it was cleared off the line, but then we got nothing else from him, and then he's slightly drifting out to the left, which Southampton didn't mind. They managed him well. I'm just like, I know when Martial's on it, he's deadly. You can't deny that. I agree, probably right for Dan James to move on, but with Martial, I think this season's going to prove crucial for him. If he doesn't get back into the form, then it's like, what do we do next with him? Because we're all trying to figure out whether he should go through the middle or be on the left. I mean, now with Ronaldo coming in as well, which Ollie has said, well, he's going to be the centre forward. We've got Cavani as well. So Martial, looks like he's going to be fighting it out with Rashford for the left-hand side. So, but for Daniel James, I just think he was going to see his game. After the Wolves game, he was going to see his game time reduced because we got Rashford coming back, Jadon Sancho's building up his fitness and form, and also we got the promising Anthony Elanga. He want to break into the first team as well, so it was going to be looking difficult for James to, see any more game time, whether it be in the cup games. So I just think those two, yes, I would favour Daniel James leaving, but with Martial, I say I have big love for Anthony Martial, but I'm starting to question whether he's going to make it or whether he's going to realise his potential. Because if we did sell him, I'm just like, the worry is he's going to go somewhere else and prove what he can do. And then we're like, well, why couldn't you do that for us? I'm like, so I hope he has a good season just to prove to all us he deserves to stay.
What's it? Fred put up this in my own stupidity. Joe, you're posing the same answer, just in a different order.
Yeah,
it does actually.
It does.
And the gas thing is, they don't have the same, like, hold on, I put up a thing. Big shout for Conor Miley claiming we should sell Martial and keep him. Is he crazy? Share your views in the polls and join us live in the chat with a link to the chat. So I said, keep James, sells Martial, sell Martial, keep James. But sell Martial, keep James is 51%, and keep James and sell Martial is 49%. So whatever that means, that's something. Stuart, I'm going to come to all the comments in a second now, guys, but I want to touch on Connor, in a future episode we will go into, because it's very interesting that you're kind of so sold on the idea of Martial being sold. So we'll touch on that more so in a while, because there are comments coming in about that. But on Dan James, what for you made him a player that you feel should have been kept?
I suppose since he's even joined the club, he's improved, in areas, strength on the ball. When he first came to us, upper body strength is very important, very physical league, obviously the Premier League. So the man on the ball, you want him to be able to, shoulder back a little bit and hang on to the ball. I don't think he's done that, especially like last season when he's played. And the first 3 games, again, his final product is not great. But I think he's improving. I think he's improving the right areas for a winger, for where he's out on the left, where he's out on the right. And his pace, he's got blinding pace, unbelievable. Now, I am a fan of Tony Martial. I know we're talking about that, guys. I'm a fan of Anthony Martial. I call him Tony because I feel like I know him, but I don't. Anthony Martial, amazing. But I think with these, first of all, they're 2 different players, right? They're 2 completely different players, right? Yes, they're both forwards, but he's out. Dan James out on the wing. I know Martial go out to the left, but it's just exactly, we have Ronaldo. We have Cavani, Greenwood can play down the centre. We have Sancho and these other players, Rashford, when he comes back as well. I don't think the problem is out wide. I think we have too much baggage going forward in Martial, and I think it's ran its course. I don't think he's going to come back and score 20 plus goals a season. I think it just gets to a stage with some of these players where they just need a change. We've seen it before in these players when they go off somewhere else. And I guarantee you, if he does go somewhere else, wherever league it is, he will play well, because you get a new lease of life. We all seen Lingard last season. I know there was other circumstances there, but we all seen that. He improved. You need a change. I think we need to keep James because he's obviously younger. He can improve in the role that he's playing. Didn't he start every game this season so far? There you go.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because Solskjaer definitely saw something. And I don't think you'll find many United fans who have a lot of hate against James. I think everyone likes him. I think, and because he gives 100%, he doesn't hide from anything, and especially his story of how he joined United as well. There's a lot of love there, and I think it's just a case of people just don't think he's good enough. I would be in that camp a bit. I always thought he'd be a fantastic squad player. I agree with you, Miley. He's growing as a player and stuff like that. Absolutely, and you never know what it could be. But I'm also like, would you really get 30 million, more than 30 million from at the moment? And we need that money if we're hopefully going to reinvest. And hold on, I want to get to some comments here because there is a lot coming in. We're getting a lot of great stuff. And guys, thank you so much for getting your thoughts in. Stuart, the wonderful Stuart, it's a rare transfer. Profit for us can count on one hand as many times as it's happened in the last 10 years. Ronaldo? Who else have we made a profit on? Di Maria we lost money on. Who else did we sell for big? I genuinely think I would say in the Premier League era, you can probably count on one hand. If anyone can just throw out 5 in the entire Premier League era, and I don't mean player, in the Premier League era that we sold for a profit. Aside from Ronaldo, that's kind of obvious one. If you can let us know, I really, really can't think of anyone. The wonderful Fred Woodward. I actually have a soft spot for DJ. Calls him DJ. He's grown on me in recent months, but for 25, 30 million, it's a no-brainer, especially with the emergence of Alanga and Ahmad coming through. Great point. See if there's anyone else I can go to here. We were told sales were crucial for future purchases, so let's see. Could be too late for this window, but still, has to be done. And Fred, I'll come to you with this one. I see where Connor is coming from. DJ is a Park Ji-sung type player. We play him versus bigger teams, and he does a job. And he's one of our only wingers to track back, etc. Decent squad player, and I completely agree with that. So Henry, I'll come to you on this question: is this an exciting sell? Lukaku wasn't sold for profit. I think we lost 10 million or 50 million on him. I think he was bought for 90, sold for 75 or something like that.
Yeah.
But Stewart is profit. Profit is down to Grealish money. Really, that simple. Lol. All right. So Henry, is this, and get your thoughts on the comments as well, guys. Is this like selling Dan James a show that and for the amount that we're selling him for? Is this an exciting time because we don't need squad players like him anymore? I put up a tweet earlier on today saying probably post Fergie, you're looking at a lot of, if Dan James was obviously the same age he is now, back then, there's a lot of squads he would have just come in straight away as or maybe top left-sided or right-sided attacking midfielder. But the fact that he can't even probably really get on the bench, I think he was, Ollie needed him for the first 3 games of the season because Sancho needed time to come in. Rashford's out injured. There was just, Ahmed obviously isn't ready. So there was the time for him to show I can be here, or at least put himself in the shop window. But is this a good thing that we're selling on a player like this and not just letting him basically run down a huge contract?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, and I think that we're selling him for the right price at the right time. I'd say if you are going to sell a player like that, you've got to do it at the right time. He's been playing at the start of the season, so there's obviously Solskjaer trusts Dan James, and I'm gonna say this, and it might sound a bit weird, but he was a kind of Fergie type of player in the sense that he can play so many different positions and he'd give 100% regardless of where he's playing. So, you can't knock him for that. He didn't quite have the quality, but timing wise, I think we've done all right with this, and I think he'll succeed at Leeds. I really do, and just because of the style of play, the pace, the stamina you have to be in that side, he'll fit right in. I just want to.
Henry, just before you make that next point, because you say success at Leeds. For you, what is being a success at Leeds? And Sean Cleary, if you're still watching, what would you say a success for Dan James would be at Leeds? Sorry, go ahead there.
So I would say, after bedding in from January onwards, I'd say 5 or 6 goals, a few assists, and just work ethic. I don't think it takes a lot to be in that Leeds side, and it's not a knock on Leeds, but they've got Stuart Dallas and Luke Ayling and people like that in their side that aren't necessarily the best Premier League players, but their work ethic is incredible, so they make up for it in what they can do besides the actual technical side of football. So I think he'll be a success there just because of that, and they'll warm to him as they do to most of their players. I know it's a little bit difficult coming from United, but he was close to joining them before, and they were happy to have him then. So I'm sure after proving that he can play at Premier League standard, they'll be happy to have him now. Just ever so quickly, I've seen a comment from a guy called Mido, and I'm not gonna, everyone has a right to an opinion, but he put Martial as like Makeda, Obatang, Januzaj, and Bebe.
I skipped that one for a reason.
That's crap. if I'm being honest, it's fair if you're saying in terms of, the work ethic might not be quite there, but in terms of talent, he is streets ahead of all of them. Obatang, if you're putting Obatang and Bebe in the same sentence as Martial, then I can't help you. if you're talking about like quality footballers, I simply cannot help you if you're doing that. That's just a very weird comment.
I completely agree with you. Sorry, Brendan, great to have you back. Brendan has a comment. We made a profit on Smalling, Toshik, Chicharito, and basically all the youth players, Welbeck, O'Shea, etc. Pathetic. I don't know what you mean by pathetic, if you want to clear that up, but I meant to say I don't count youth players, because if you sell a youth player, obviously that's going to be a profit. That's fine. But on Smalling, I guess we did. I'm trying to think. There was about 10 years in a difference on inflation. I think it was a similar what we bought him for and what we sold him for, because we bought him for like a good amount for a player. I remember they said about 2 years previous had been playing non-league football. We bought him for about 12 million, I think.
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo is like
an obvious one, isn't he? Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo's safe. Toshik, I can't remember. I can remember the name Toshik. I can remember that signing, but I don't. Yeah, and Chicharito, I thought that was about the same amount. Sorry, Brendan, clearing it up now. Pathetic that we can't sell players for a fair price. Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying, Brett. We're not going to go. We might talk about this at the very, very end. But I'm saying we should, like, no top club should be selling a player for profit, because we should be losing money when we sell players because we have used them to their nth degree, and now they're nothing. If we're selling players and making a profit, it means that they actively want to leave. You know, that we aren't giving them enough. So if we're making a profit on a player, we're not doing things the right way. So really, Ronaldo, okay, that's fine. He always wanted to go to Madrid. We understand that he's coming back. But we can understand that top player wants to go to the dream club, absolutely. But like next after that, it would be players like it is Lukaku, Di Maria, who basically, but we failed them, they failed us, in whatever way you want to look at it. But like aside from that, there should be no, other than absolute mess ups that are embarrassing to the club. You can't look at outside of Ronaldo, probably the top 5. If anyone has a list there, Stuart, if you wouldn't mind looking that up, our top, maybe even top 7, 8 players we've sold for a profit, like however much we sold them for our top 5 sales. Tell us who they are, and I guarantee you, aside from Ronaldo, they're all players we kind of go, oh yeah, him. Do you know, that didn't work out. Yeah, I guarantee if you can put them up, Stuart or Fred, whoever wants to do it, we'd really appreciate it. But we're going to stick to Dan James at the moment. Andrew, what? So I feel, for me anyway, that we should have tried to sell Dan James for basically the only reason. I think anyone else, like whenever we sell a player, they generally come back to haunt us. Dan James will definitely score against us, but at least if he's on loan, he can't play against us. And I'm like, yeah, that weakens Leeds and strengthens us. So like, do you feel there is anything to be said for putting Dan James on loan, or is this selling just a progress for the club?
I think it's the right time to cash in on Dan James. He's going to struggle to get game time, and we're not going to deny a player that wants to play football. That would just wrong of us. I mean, and the money we're going to get from the transfer, obviously, we can be used to recruit the outlay we've already spent this summer. I was reading something earlier about United that said the net spend they wanted to spend this season, this transfer windows between 75 and 100 million. So we already spent 120. So if we get 30 from Leeds, well, it's within those figures that United wanted to spend anyway. So, I mean, when James first came into the club, we had a lack of options on the wing. Now we've got plenty of options in that area, and this is obviously hastened his departure out of the club. So, I mean, I wish him all the best as well. And like you, Joe, I think he's going to return to haunt us and then score against us when we go to Ellen Road as well. I say with James, you can't deny he gave everything on the pitch when he played for us. I mean, one of his like key attributes was his versatility on the pitch as well, because he could play in any position in the front three, from whether he was on the left, the right, in the centre. I mean, I know Ollie used to prefer to put him out on the out wide. So when he was bringing the ball into the final third of the pitch, he'd then come in more centrally with it, and also his pace was something he used to great effect as well. So he'd stay out wide and be high up the pitch. So when we countered, he'd be in the position to be like dangerous and effective against the fullbacks. So just one area he just did lack was the final, his awareness to make the final pass and the cross into the box. So to pick out the players at the right time. So I think with Ollie, he didn't reach the levels that we expected of him, and Ollie tried to make it work with him, and he gave him every chance, but it's just not worked out in the end. So I'll say I'll be interested to see how he gets on now, wherever he goes, whether it is Leeds or this reported Everton hijack as well.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But Brendan, sorry, just came in with this. I guess we're going to continue to touch on this. In order of our top sold players, and this also doesn't list, I can't remember how much we bought these players for, so I don't know how much of a difference there is in profit. But Ronaldo, you know about that one. Lukaku, obviously we look back at that one, we're kind of, Di Maria, Beckham, that's only about 25 million. So it really drops down from Di Maria to Beckham. Beckham, I think, was like 25, 26 million, but we said we disregard that because he's from the youth ranks. Mkhitaryan, I can't remember how much we bought him for, but I thought that was like a base. I would think that was the same fee as Sanchez, was about 30 million.
Yeah,
and then a swap deal, wasn't it, that we got rid of him with to Arsenal as part of the Sanchez deal, wasn't it? A swap deal.
Yeah. but this is where we get into, because Jaap Stam, I think, was bought for 18 million, or was it 12 million? And he was sold.
It was 18.
He was definitely sold for less. I think he was only sold for 10 million. Schneiderlin was bought for like 30 million, was sold for like 10 million as well. Veron was sold for 15 million. So that's why it's kind of, but that might have been pounds or euros. I'm not really sure.
Memphis Depay is the one to look at, I suppose. What do we sell him for?
Well, we bought him for like 27 million. I think we sold him for like 4 or 12 or something like that.
Really?
Like we sold him for like 12 million. Again, if guys can get there, if someone wants to be super nerdy and be a member of our loved part of this channel forever, just if you could put in like how much they were sold for and how much they were bought for. I don't know who has the most time in our hands out there, but that's what we can really have the discussion on. And we'll say that if someone does that, you'll be loved forever, and we'll talk about it at the very, very end. But finally, discussing Dan James and our reaction to this move, Miley. Is this a progressive move for us? Like, and Sean, I completely disagree with you. Depay is not doing brilliant at the moment. He's playing for a terrible Barcelona, and he might be shining a tiny bit, and he did nothing in France for a couple of years, to be honest. Sorry, and Depay. Does this move benefit everyone? If we take everything out of, like you're saying, you would prefer to keep Dan James over Martial, understandable. But is this the right move for Dan James, for Man United, for everyone right now? Or do you feel, even though we should have not kept that 30 million, kept the player, maybe send him out on loan if see how he gets on, and then would that have been an option you would have looked at?
I mean, the only people that benefit from this are Leeds if it goes through this move. I don't think it benefits us in any way. I mean, 50 million profit. Whippity do that day. You know what I mean? Is that gonna? Are we definitely gonna get number 6? Which people are calling for before this deadline? I mean, if we sell him, I hope we do. I hope we get something out of losing such a good player. I hope we do get a number 6. Or I know the Neves deal fell through and stuff like that, and probably looking at other people. But if we're selling him, we better be getting a number 6 in, because there's absolutely no need. And we're looking at a squad game here, with Liverpool and City doing well over the past few years, right? And, look at City's bench, when they were winning leagues, that way. So what's wrong with we need to have a serious squad. You know what I mean? We get injured. All these teams get injuries all the time. I mean, injuries are so, with the right players train now and everything. Injuries are happening all the time. Could happen anywhere. Could happen on the Wednesday before they go and have their dinner. That way. So, I think it's a huge mistake. We're just shipping off players, just bringing in Ronaldo, stuff like that, and getting rid of them for 15 million profit. I mean, we can look back at all the times we didn't make profit. So we're Man United. We're really going to make a profit. That way. We're going to bring in these players when they're hot and they're ready to go, and then we sell them off when either it doesn't work out or they're past their prime and it is their time to go. Anthony Martial. You know what I mean? I think it's his time to go, not Dan James. Someone said in the comments earlier on, he's way too young. There's so much potential. Basically, just saying what I said myself. And I think it's a huge mistake. No one really benefits from it from Leeds, and Leeds might not even benefit from it. He might go there and he might work out. Then he ends up going on loan from somewhere from Leeds. We've seen that happen before. If these players stay at the right level at a club like Manchester United, with all that's there. With how much our club actually improves these players. I mean, look at Scott McTominay over the past years. Greenwood. You can't tell me that Rashford, when he came to us, you can't tell me that United have not done well with our young players over the past few years. It's a mistake. Full stop.
Wow. Okay, that is literally a full stop. So now we're gonna go look at the highlights and the lowlights of Dan James at Man United. I'm going to give you guys a second to think about it. I think highlights are kind of easy to go by. It's strange. I can't really think of many times he's let us down enough to be like, well, that's why that was the worst moment for him. There's only one that comes to mind, and even then I can kind of understand it. So guys, get in the comments, get your thoughts in. What is your favourite moment, Dan James, in the red of Man United? And what moment do you kind of wish you could take back? I'm going to go to you first, Henry, as per usual. What is your favourite moment for Dan James? What is your least favourite moment?
I think my favourite is the goal against Southampton away. I thought just at that point, the skill, the technique, we're already pretty hyped about him when he came in, because I mean, he was an unknown. and that's, I think that's brilliant about having a player coming in. He's known by the coaching staff. They know what they're getting in a player, but he was a little bit unknown. And then going and doing that and putting in a run of performances that was just phenomenal. Then it's one of those where you get incredibly hyped. And again, it was almost too good of a start for him, for his sake. Like, he didn't ease his way in. He just hit the ground running. And then anything after that maybe looked a little bit poor. So, but no complaints. Quality finish, quality player, pace. He's everything United kind of base themselves on when it comes to attacking players. So, happy days.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, for you, what is your highlight? And if you can find a low light too.
I'd say it's probably when he made his debut at Old Trafford. I mean, watching from the stands, of like him to come on and then score at the Stretford end. I think we were just all so happy for him as well. And just for him, I think it was just like the stuff dreams are made of. Just to say, we were just all there, just in the moment, and it was like Henry said, he had such a good start. I think he scored 3 goals in the opening 4 games when he first arrived, and then sort of then, even though he's getting like more game time than expected, I just think. His form, he had a downturn in form. He wasn't scoring, and then he slightly regressed a little. And then, obviously, the area. Well, as I said earlier, with his the final pass and into the box. But yeah, for me, it was his debut. It was the highlight for me, getting to score against. Well, remember Chelsea 4-0. His goal was the final one to round off the win. But in terms of a low light, I can't really pick one out. I just can't think of any particular game where he was really, really bad. But yeah, the highlight for me was his debut.
Brilliant. Okay, Miley, for you, if you can think of a low light, I think people are kind of struggling to one, which is a testament to the player. I think that the problem is that the highlights were, I think there's rarely one where he scored that was the winning goal. It tend to be like when we're already a few up and stuff like that. But for you, Miley, what would be your highlight, and if you have a low light?
The highlight would be the Chelsea goal. To get off the start, getting on the score sheet there, and it's like when you see a player do that, that's like, all right, this lad is up for this. That way it gives you a kind of a bit of hope as a fan that way. And I suppose another highlight is where he just splits up and down the pitch some games. The Southampton one stuff. He just ran riot with just his pace alone. And a few Europa League and stuff like that, a few games he played well as well. But a low light would have to be, it would actually have nothing to do with the player himself. When he didn't play well, it would have more to do with the fans who were kind of, fickle that way, with just turning and straight away, he's not you, so give the lad a chance. Like he's young, he's got all the potential in the world, but I hate that about, fans after one season, and they go off too quick, and then he comes on, he scores 2 goals in some game or something like that, and then he's the best player in the world again. I hate that type of football fan, right? So I hate that part of Dan James' career, but it wasn't his fault. It was other people's fault, and under different management as well and stuff like that, whatever. But I think this is, I'm furious when I first heard about this, to be honest. It's probably shown. This is a huge mistake. So I have no words, Joe.
Well, thank God we didn't bring you on to a talk show, to discuss things. On that, you actually brought up a very interesting point, Miley, because with the fans, it can be incredibly infuriating. I think, like, maybe it's at every fan group or whatever you want to call it, because we seem to be so much more toxic when it comes to our own players. Dan James, I remember, it's so bad. Like, he scored twice. Like, I think he said it there last season. He scored a couple of times and was playing really, really well. And people were calling for him to be pulled out of the squad and saying, he doesn't know what he's doing by playing, and why is Dan James in the squad? And I was like any good manager, if a player is playing well, like, this isn't Mourinho, where no matter how well or badly he played, he was going to play anyway, because you're his guy. If you're playing well enough, then you're going to get your opportunity. You're going to show yourself. I've had many disagreements with people about Donny van de Beek with this, because I was like, why does Dan James get a chance at Donny Dustin? And I was like, well, clearly Dan James is showing what he can do on the training field. And when he is given the opportunities and he shows that he is an Ollie type player and he will do what he needs to do. Obviously, don't even have the biggest in doing that. Do I know that for a fact? I don't, but I'm only going by past decisions from Ollie that makes sense. So like the fans give him so much stick, and it happens so much. And you're just like, it's typical on the internet. People just say stuff just to be heard. And it's absolutely, it's my least favorite thing about football in general, but mostly our fans. And I hope that it is, like, you know, I hope everyone gets bullied, but like, I hope it isn't just our fans. I hope we're not special in the way that we spread the hate like that. But it just really feels like that. But I guess we are the biggest club in the world, which means we have the most fans, which means we'll have the most vocal fans. So we see the light more often, but it's the thing I hate most about the club.
Joe.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one thing to ask whoever's in the comments there to look up would be his goal involvement. How much the chance creation, how much he plays a part in it. I'm not the hugest guy when it comes to statistics and stuff like that. But I'd like to see that for every game that he's played. Looking at goal involvement, because when I'm watching these games that he's playing, I feel like he's always involved. Whether it's a cross that's gone bad, it's bounced off to someone else, and all of a sudden Fernandez or Greenwood is smashing it in the back of the net. You know, he's producing something that is helping the team moving forward, as well as tracking back, as we all said. But like you were saying there about the fans, that's just lazy thinking. It reminds me of a few years ago when you're watching Liverpool, and Emil Heskey had his critics. But Emil Heskey was actually a decent player, and he actually proved that after he left Liverpool and went to Aston Villa. But someone, it's like one of them situations where someone just goes, he's brutal. And it just gets carried along, and it's just lazy thinking. But if you actually look at some of these players and see what they've done and look at the statistics, they're actually decent players, and they produce, they do their job when it comes to being a part of the team.
Yeah, that's well said. And moving on, just because if he ends up, at the moment, it seems like he's destined for Leeds, and it would make, karmic justice, whatever you want to say it. But like, there isn't a chance that Everton are coming in the last minute, which means possibly even more money for us. That's what every club wants, is a bidding war for a player. So we're looking at, we'll say, at least 30 million, which hopefully be reinvested, and hope that isn't just paying off debt or whatever, that we could go into this window. That the last day of the window, I think we're literally into the last day of the window now. No, I'm in Sweden. I'm an hour ahead. Sorry. So in about 40 minutes, we're into the last day in the window. Henry, do you see there will be a lot of business yet to be done? If this 30 million is being put towards players, do you think that we are still in the market for someone? And if there is, who would you want that to be and on what position?
Well, I've just seen something on my phone, which is, we kind of knew it was going to happen anyway, but my heart's kind of sunk. Camavinga is not happening now. He's going to Real Madrid as of now. That's going to happen tomorrow by the looks of it. So that's another one ruled out, and it looks like Sal's on his way to Chelsea. So,
personally, I think that's sorry. Just I don't want to interrupt you. I don't care about either of them. Sam Laguerre has done nothing about 2 or 3 years. Camavinga is 18 years old, absolutely brilliant potential, but I also feel in the same position in our ranks of players. Yeah. So I'm actually fine with that if that means we get Ruben Neves. But sorry, I just have to get that point across. But go ahead. No,
that's fine. That's absolutely fine. The problem is, and I completely get what you're saying, and that it'll be reinvested. It should be reinvested. This is the Glazers we're talking about. Let's not forget who we're dealing with in terms of ownership. And also, they want a cheap deal. Sal is a cheap deal. That's the difference, I think. If you can get someone that has played that role before, he's played that role at Atletico before. They're more of a defensive side than an attacking side, and he played there until last season when things started to fall away because he made it clear to the club that he didn't want to play there anymore. But it's one of those where I want to see Neves. I prefer Bissouma, but I would be happy with either. But we've got a problem where 30 million ain't going to cut it for either of those. So either the ownership is going to have to stump up some more cash, or we're going to have to sell another player. And it just seems too late at the moment. Unless Everton miss out on Dan James saying, then they think, okay, we've got to go and get Jesse Lingard. But then again, you're working on borrowed time when you go into the last day of the window, hoping for a sale and then going and buying a player with that money. It's so difficult to do. So do I expect a midfielder to come in? Absolutely not. The Ronaldo deal, everyone's saying it, the same could happen again. Fair enough, but that deal, he was close to joining City, and you've got to move on that. So it was a bit of a off the cuff sort of thing. But those deals on deadline day are so difficult to get through.
But Henry, we are getting 30 million, and Ruben Neves is reportedly available for 35 million.
Yeah.
So,
but again, do the ownership want to stump up 5 million of their own money? Do they really want to do that? Have their net spend? They wanted to spend around between 75 and 100 million in terms of net spend this year. It's 90 at the moment. So again, it's looking really tight with finances. And these guys, they don't look at transfers. They look at spreadsheets. They don't look at a quality of player. They look at how good the finances are involved. The Ronaldo deal makes complete sense because we'll recoup the money. It will come back in through shirt sales, or we'll get new sponsorship deals because, he's joined the club, and he brings along his affiliates as well, who will become a part of the club, and things will, it will just blow up as we've seen recently. But it's we've got to see some huge. There's got to be a domino effect somewhere, and whether that's going to be Renato Sanchez going to Wolves that will cause a domino effect with Neves wanting to leave, I don't know. But something has got to happen that's out of our control for us to get a deal done. I seriously believe that, and we've got a lot to do in a short space of time.
Jesus, Henry, way to be positive anyway. God's sake. I thought I was clear with this in the message beforehand. I want to be blind faith. Say random players will sign Messi. Why not? Pele will come out of retirement. Maradona will come back from the dead, and they'll sign for us. All right. That's what it was a clear statement I said to you. But fine, you want to mess it up with facts? Grand. Andrew, going to you. Are we going to buy anyone tomorrow? If so, who? And how much do you think it'll cost?
I'm going to, with Henry, I'm going to say I'm be very surprised if we buy anybody else tomorrow. I think we've made all the signings we're going to make. I know United fans out there saying we're crying out for a defensive midfielder, but I think we might have one there already in the form of Scott McTominay. I felt like we missed him yesterday against Wolves. I mean, Fred was struggling in that midfield, especially the first half. And I mean, with Scott McTominay, just looking like the profile of him, he completes a high number of passes. He rarely loses the ball. He's got good balance of keeping the ball and also progressing the play. His work ethic is second to none. He's got good defensive attributes, and when he does get forward, he can score goals as well. And these are the essentials for a player that wants to operate in the second phase of play, which I think McTominay does perform to an excellent standard. So I think the progress he's made over the last few years under Ali, I think he can effectively replace Matic. I mean, Matic, I think he's still got it, but a little bit. I think he just lost his legs. So I just think McTominay can take over that role. So I know people have screamed out we need somebody likes of Ndidi or Camavinga, and which I know Henry's now said he's going on to Real Madrid, but I just think we need to look within. Like I say, we've got some good youth prospects coming through as well. So even James Garner, even though I know he's gone on loan to Forest, but he's another prospect that could be the defensive midfielder. So, but in terms of a transfer, then no, I don't think I'll be surprised to see anybody come in.
You lads are severely letting me down. Jesus Christ.
Joe, just quickly.
I'm being realistic.
Quickly, Jonathan Traeger's just said that West Ham aren't going to go for Lingard, so any deal with Declan Rice or any deal in terms of them, which we were hoping for.
Brilliant. Delighted to hear that.
Yeah, no, myself and Mike are in the same boat there of, not a big fan of the old Rice.
I don't want to be conflicted here, okay?
Yeah.
I thought I better not mention his name.
Yeah, but Henry had no qualms about it.
Unless you're ordering a curry, I don't want to know, right?
He's a good player, but again,
he's a rat.
Too expensive.
Yeah, and no loyalty. But with Miley, I'm going to come to you for some blind optimism. We're getting 30 odd million for James. If Ruben Neves is available for 35, I do believe the owners will give an extra 5 million. Henry doesn't think so. I can completely understand where he's coming from there. But Jesse Lingard is still a great end of his season last season, whether it be West Ham, apparently Leicester are in for him as well, who are looking for that type of player too. We could possibly sell for close to 20 million, get the money there, no problem to buy a CDM. But do you feel this is possible going into the last day? We saw how quickly Ronaldo came across, and James is happening in a day or two as well. For you, Miley, is there any possibility of United getting... Well, first of all, is the CDM what you want? And do you think there's a possibility of it actually happening in the next day or so?
Well, it can all happen very quick, and a lot of people don't know about it, but we're very close. We're very close to signing a very good, talented CDM. And before the whole Ronaldo thing started, I had my short printed out and all. And,
Jesus Christ!
It never happened. So I had to. Some dreams die. That's just the way it is. But I had to just put no. Sorry, that's an old jersey. But no.
Oh yeah, no, because you had us fooled there. You had us fooled. We were like, oh my god, he's signing for United. You had me, and then you were like, oh, he can't have number 7. Ronaldo will go crazy if he has number 7. That's what I was hoping. I was wondering how I'm going to break that to you.
Yeah, a bit of a deal breaker. Yeah, a serious deal breaker there. But no, on a serious note, I think. I mean, McTominay for me is the number 6. McTominay needs to play. I mean, how we knew we were going to beat Wolves when the starting lineup came out, and I knew Matic wasn't in the starting lineup. That's when I knew that we were going to win that game. Because any game he plays, he just affects the whole run of play going forward. He slows it down, like our colleague says there. He hasn't got the legs. Just no use. I mean, we need to stop playing. He needs to go as well. I put him in the same field as, well, not as much, but Martial. I don't mind if he stays, but Matic needs to go. If I were going to sell him, I would sell him. Get money in for him. Whether it's 2 million or 5, I don't care what it is. But McTominay is number 6. I mean, in the middle there, it's got to be McTominay, Pogba, and Bruno. That's the way I would look at it. And obviously, he's injured at the moment, which is just terrible, and it'd be good to bring in another player if we do. But I agree with the guys. I don't think it's going to happen before deadline day. But you never know. Did we think we were going to get Ronaldo? No. So
no.
No, we didn't. No. And we nearly got me, but it didn't happen. Too many ways.
Number 7.
Too much ways.
The number 7, yeah.
Number
Brendan, 7. Didn't Rio Ferdinand hit a big things happening? That could have been just Ronaldo, but it would be great if things did happen. Roman Sohan is... We sitting waiting on Rice when we had a gaping hole in midfield that could derail the season, so we will still wait on him until our chance of winning the league gets less because of that. I don't think Rice is that high up on the agenda for United. I think he was. I do think it was always a centre back, and I think the fact that Varane came available was just perfect. So I think, and for me, I was like, I felt the two guys, McFred, were doing that job because they couldn't trust Lindelof alongside Maguire. So they had to really sit in front of there and try to make that as compact as possible. But with Varane coming in, you don't need that anymore. So I do think, as we did it play against Wolves, we will have the one holding midfielder, which I think could be McTominay. I do feel that I don't care about selling Niguez. Camavinga, I'm fine. I didn't hear about Camavinga until like 3 months ago, so I don't mind we don't get him because I do feel there is enough in the youth ranks. And what I want is someone that's 27, 28 to come in for 3 years like Matic did, but like we need that player now more. And even if it isn't a player that will be world class in that position, but will just improve on that and be able to do the role of McTominay and Fred together, I think that's Ruben Neves. But for you, Henry, if this transfer window and transfer season goes out now with the signings we have now, do you still feel we are strong enough to compete for the title?
Oh, this is so tough. Obviously, without signing Ronaldo, I'd have 100% said no. He can help the team going forward, but there is still a huge gap. And I get the hype around McTominay, and I get that he is a good player, but he didn't play in the youth ranks. He didn't play as a number 6. He started off as a striker, then got moved back into attacking midfield, then got moved back into central midfield. He's a number 8 as well. And last year it kind of showed with us putting square pegs in round holes. And it feels like we've made 2 steps forward again. But if we don't sign the final piece of the puzzle, it's 1 step back. And again, that Fred Woodward comment just at the bottom, I seriously think that's the case. I don't think we can challenge with the midfield that we've got at the moment. I think Matic's legs have gone. I think Fred, my word, Fred was atrocious against Wolves. And it's his ball retention. He's just not smart enough to get on the half turn against people. And his passing is just so inaccurate. So in terms of percentages, last year he was one of the worst in the team. So we've got a hole in that midfield, and one player could make this side more than title challenging side, more than a trophy winning side. You know, this could be the best post Ferguson side, but that midfielder is missing, and McTominay's out for almost a month. You know, with his just having a surgery, so that puts you on the back foot already. It just, the owners have done what they had to do this summer, is what I'll say. They've done what they had to do. They've tried to make the fans happy after the Super League nonsense, but they haven't taken it a step further that we wanted to create a side. If you look at man for man, is our side better than Manchester City's right now? In terms of all the other positions, it's probably as good. But in terms of that one holding position where you've got Fernandinho or Rodri, nah. Same with Chelsea, Kante and Jorginho. We're competing with these kind of sides, or Fabinho and Henderson. No, it's just not, and we're lacking. We need one player. Seriously, one player in this title challenging side. But it's frustrating.
Okay. Very well, Andrew, would you be the same thing, that we are one player away from being title challengers? Do you feel we can do it with the squad we have now, or do you feel we're even further away than even Henry saying that we just need one player? Where do you stand on that?
I think we've got a squad capable now of challenging for trophies. I mean, I just think this transfer window, if we only just got Sancho and Varane, I'd say we had a good window. But I think Ronaldo coming, I think it's been a great transfer window. And I think it's just symbolic of where this United team is heading under Ollie. I mean, slowly but surely, Ollie's rebuilt this team that was left by Mourinho, that was in an unfit, it was divided and in such a lazy state. It's now been elevated to a side that is capable of challenging for every honour now. So, and with Ronaldo coming in and Varane and Sancho as well, they bring that winning mentality as well. And obviously, we also want to. Well, Ollie, we've not won a trophy yet under Ollie, but having the likes of those three players come in, it will just give them that, say, grit and determination to get through that final obstacle like we missed last season. Like, I just remember like the Champions League game against RB Leipzig, where we should have got through to the knockout stage, and then again the Europa League final, we're just missing that little bit of winning mentality. And I think with those three players coming in, they're going to be pivotal to us and to the younger players in the United squad as well. So I'm just hoping we're going to be challenging. I'm just with the league as well. I just hope going into the final month of the season, we're pushing whoever it is to that title. I just want us to remain in the hunt. And I say, yes, getting Champions League places is all well and fine, but we're Manchester United. We should be challenging for the league, and every other honour. So
absolutely,
I think we're capable. I can see Henry's point. We might. Possible we might need one more player, but I just think that holding midfielder role, which everybody seems to go on about, I think Scott McTominay can fill that role, and we've got the perfect squad, I think.
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting. Miley, I'll go to you now to actually see us out on your very first episode. With the team we have now, are we good enough to compete for the title? If not, how far are we off? And what would, if we sign now, what I still hold on to maybe 10% hope that we'll sign Ruben Neves tomorrow evening. But if we don't sign anyone, what would you deem a success for this United squad? Consider Ronaldo signing, and Ronaldo is not signing just to qualify for the Champions League. So what would you deem success for this Manchester United squad at the end of the season?
Well, I do think we need Scott McTominay back, and we need him back in full form in that position. I think that's key. We obviously, our chances will be improved if Neves is brought in. It'd be great. That will, it could be a big boost. But I think across the board, the whole team is going to get a big boost from Ronaldo coming in, just from the player that he is, just from the man he is, you know. And that's another thing that annoys me about this whole James situation. Just think of what Dan James could learn from Cristiano Ronaldo. Just think of that, you know. As well as all the other players, Mason Greenwood, and even the players who are a bit older and there for a while, Rashford, you know, what could he do for him? It's going to lift the whole team, the whole squad. So, yeah, we do have a squad that can win the league, you know, as long as we can find a decent amount of consistency through game, you know, the Burnley aways and all these games where we dropped points at home last season and it just, you know, that missing, and obviously the final Europa League, Andrew was saying there, that was we should have won that. We should have won that 100%. But, you know, it was just these little games that were just lacking a little bit. And I think there's, you know, some players lack a little bit of confidence as well, you know, especially Marcus Rashford. I think he is a serious overthinker in his head. So we need to get him back fully fit. With Scott McTominay, have Ronaldo there beside him, you know, like back in the day when we had Eric Cantona saying to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he was waiting to score his first goal for Man United, you're going to score today. You're going to get a goal today. Nicky Butt, when you know, the class of 92 came up. So we can win the league 100%, but it all depends on the effect Ronaldo has in the team, and all depends on if these players are going to take it on board. You know, a lot of people say that, you know, Paul Pogba, his attitude is this or that, as well as maybe some other players in the team. But if you're a footballer and you don't respect and don't take advice from Cristiano Ronaldo and listen to your manager and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and moving forward, how to win week in, week out, well then, you know, your head is up your you know what. But I think we have a great chance.
Oh, that's fantastic. Finally, a bit of positivity. And my favorite thing was, I think Rashford overthinks with his head. I don't want to think what else you can overthink with, because it might become
his brains have gone to his head, Joe.
Yeah, the worst place for it to happen in any footballer.
Look, I love the whole, you know, school dinners to kids. He's actually he's a top lad, you know, that way, yeah. And he deserves all the credit in the world for that. Yeah. But I personally want him to concentrate a lot on, like, you know, less about the chicken Kievs and the chips and more about the assists and the goals. Yeah. You know, going forward, I think his players can take on a lot, but he needs to concentrate on his football so he can continue in his career and able to do all these other things as well. It's his bread and butter at the end of the day. That might be a controversial statement, but it's mine and I don't care.
Fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please give a big love to Connor here for joining us on his very first time. Miley, give love in the comments for him. Please welcome him the best way you possibly can. And hopefully we'll see a lot more of him very soon. And as well as that, of course, Henry and Andrew, it's always fantastic to have you two guys on as well. What are your thoughts on the Dan James move, as we covered, I talked earlier on? What are your thoughts on if we sign no one, can we win this league title? We do have the somewhat Ronaldo. Is that how I say his name? I'd never heard of him before. Not one of the greatest players who's ever lived of all time to be in our squad. It's not going to give any sort of boost if you're going to be the way we think about it. But it's going to be an interesting season no matter what. Please keep up to date with everything with All United by subscribing to the channel, liking on Twitter. I was supposed to say liking on Tinder, liking on Twitter. Follow all the guys here on their social medias. You can see them at Andrew Wall, at Henry Bartlett 17, at Andrew_Wall, and Conor Miley, luckily, is just at Conor Miley, so you can find him there. And we'll see you all very soon. Please subscribe to the channel. Please find us on Twitter. Please do all the lovely things. Share the video around and help us get as many eyes on this as possible. But we'll see you very soon for our next show. And I never have the outro set up, and there it is. So guys, until next time, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. I've been Joe O'Neill. You've been incredible Manchester United fans. Stick with All United, and we will have great shows coming soon. All the best, and let's hope for a very interesting transfer deadline day. See you guys.